Hi everyone. How are you? Sorry, I just need to adjust this a little bit. Okay, hi. Welcome. As you're coming on, please say hello, as always, so I know that you can see me and hear me. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but tonight we're talking about, kind of played with the title a little bit. Basically, grief is not linear. The 5 stages of grief as we as a society know them. I'm going to get into it a little bit, but Elizabeth Kubler-Ross did some wonderful work. However, her work has been grossly misinterpreted. So I'm hoping that tonight I can help you feel a little more at ease with the misnomer of these 5 stages and how grief actually tends to work. I'm also going to, as always, I have, hold on, beautiful new card deck that I'm really excited about. It's Kyle Gray's newest one. It's the Angel Guide Oracle. They are beautiful. I haven't been able to play with them very much just yet, but I did cleanse them and bless them, so they are ready if anybody wants a card later on. These are just absolutely gorgeous. As always, I love his work. So Kyle Gray. He's a Hay House author. He's from, I believe, Scotland. He's got the best accent. I love it. So look him up if you are so inclined. He's younger. I'd say he's probably in his early 30s, but he's been working with angels for a really long time. So, hi everybody. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much. Okay. So, couple of announcements. So I'm going to be live and in person. So if you're in Northeast Ohio, on February 12th, it's a Saturday. I've been invited back to the lovely Crystal Den, Joy Mitchell, and I'll be doing Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day or just self-love reading. So if you have a question, hi Diane, about a relationship or a situationship, or you're single and want to attract more love into your life, or if you just want to learn how to love yourself more, see what Spirit, hi Carrie, see what Spirit has to say. So I will be at the Crystal Den on Saturday the 12th from 11 to 3. So come see us. You're welcome to reserve a spot. Some people have already done that, but of course walk-ins are welcome. If you can't make that event, hi Brandy. I'm going to offer, after the event, I will offer, it's 20 minutes. So I'll offer a 20-minute reading, either live or recorded, your preference. So that'll be available to anyone who can't make it to the Crystal Den that day. We are approaching, hallelujah, the tail end of Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde. So hang in there, guys. We got another week of this stuff and then should be okay. I don't know about you guys, but this Mercury retrograde has knocked me for a total loop. I've been having so many issues at the Muggle job, just stuff. Hi, Brian. I love you so much. Hi, Mom. It was so good talking with you earlier. I think we have a lot more that we need to catch up on, so I miss you too. And so Venus heads direct on Saturday. So if you've been reevaluating relationships or having some relationship issues, or some money, because Venus also rules money, there's relief coming. So hi. And then Mercury retrogrades to like the 3rd or 4th of February. So next week. Oh my gosh. Okay. So stuff going on. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So grief. I'm sure that you've heard, if you're not sure what they are, you've at least heard of the 5 stages of grief. They're not actually the 5 stages of grief. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was a Swiss-American psychologist. She passed away in the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004, somewhere in there. But her work was beautiful. She did some really great work. Her book was actually called On Death and Dying. So it was the 5 stages that the patient goes through typically speaking, in their diagnosis and their realization that they are in fact terminally ill in some way. So the 5 stages, the acronym is DABDA. So that's how a lot of us in the field remember it. But it's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Here's the thing. These 5, maybe stages wasn't the right word to use. And she even said at the end of her life, she regretted how misunderstood her work truly was. It's good stuff. It really is. But it's not linear at all. And there's probably even more looking back on the last 30, 40 years of her work since it came out. There's a lot more that we could add to this. But in her 5 stages, denial. That's the, nope, this isn't happening to me. I don't believe this. This can't be happening to me. Just total denial. Some people go to that stage. Some people skip it altogether. Some people say, you know what, I knew something was going on, or breast cancer runs in the family. Maybe they skip denial altogether. And then anger. So being obviously upset about your diagnosis, your prognosis. I don't deserve this. Why is this happening to me? Why do good things happen or bad things happen to good people? I've done all the right things in my life. Why did this have to happen to me? I'm so angry about it. Totally valid. Again, not everybody's angry about it. Going back to my previous example of, you know what, it runs in the family. I kind of knew what to expect. It just is. Bargaining, typically bargaining with God. So the universe, the divine, whatever it is. Hi, Sarah. It's like, I promise that I'll be a better person. I'll live a good life. I'll give to charity. I'll donate. I'll do all these things. I'll spend more time with people that I love. If you will take this away from me, if you'll make this not a thing, if you'll save me. I always think of Scrooge in A Christmas Carol at the end with the ghost number 3, the ghost of future Christmas yet to come. And he's like, I promise I'll be a good person. Just make this not so. That's the bargaining. Hi, Leanne. Again, some people don't go through this step. Depression, that hopeless, helpless, just incredibly sad, extreme regret, that just depression. Some people go right to that. Some people skip it altogether. And then acceptance. Acceptance is not the same as giving up. It is surrender. This is happening. There's nothing I can do to change it. I can't control it. So I'm just going to live the rest of my days, however many there are, the rest of my moments. And that's it. So DABDA. Like I said before, it is not really the 5 stages of grief. It's the 5 stages of death and dying. So it's for the patient, not the bereaved. Those of us who are left. I don't want to say left behind because that sounds really... who are left to grieve. The psychology community just took this and ran with it because grief looks like a lot of these things. And I'm not saying that, so if you're grieving, you might go through some of those stages, especially if you're really close to the person, if you're the spouse or the child or the caregiver, whoever, the best friend of the dying person. Absolutely. You might go through this with them or instead of. But the problem is that it's not linear. It is not sequential. It is not an if-then. If you get through this stage, then you get to the next stage. It's not inevitable. It's really more like, as I say, it's more like a Venn diagram. So you might have this and this and this, and they overlap, and you're in the middle somewhere. Or you might not have it at all. Chances are you're going to go through at least one of these areas. I'm not going to call it a stage. one of these areas. Maybe it's a phase, maybe the 5 phases. We'll have to play with that. But there's really good work. Elizabeth's work made it okay to talk about your feelings behind the death and dying, behind the grief that either you're experiencing as the terminally ill person or the bereaved. In a time where people were still pretty much like shoving it down and you just deal with it on your own, or you drink yourself to pieces, whatever it is. She made it okay. Her work. She worked with a bunch of other people, but she's the one that published it. So she's the name and the face behind all of this. She made it okay to talk about. And as we know today, 30, 40 years later, absolutely. Please talk about this stuff. Hi, Shar. Please talk about your feelings. Please talk about if you're in one of these or a totally different phase. It helped to, her work and publishing her work helped to ease the stigma, which there is still a stigma around mental health, but also grief. I have clients, and I love you all, who are they're afraid. And when we grieve, the way that we grieve is learned primarily from the adults who are around us, our parents, our church family, whoever it was around us. We learned through our culture, those norms, religion, society, whatever it was. When we were growing up, we learned how to grieve. What's acceptable, what isn't acceptable. And you can see it in different cultures. Some cultures are very stoic. The Jewish community will sit for 7 days. Like, this is what we do. We grieve for 7 days and then we move about. In a Christian household, we did the whole calling hours and funeral thing. And it was okay to cry, but you still kind of kept it together as much as you could. You didn't really do that in public. If you needed to break down, you went behind closed doors. You went to the bathroom, or you were at home, whatever it is. You take food. So there are different ways to grieve. And we learn that growing up. In some cultures, wailing is totally appropriate, which would be shocking to someone like me who might not understand, like, whoa, that's an outward display of grief. Holy cow. So it might be shocking. So her work allowed the conversation to begin, and we continue that conversation. And I see as part of my mission in this world is to continue her work, continue that conversation of it's okay to grieve. And it's okay to grieve however you're going to grieve, as long as you're not hurting anybody, of course. But if you need to cry, cry. If you need to yell, yell. If you need to hit a pillow, hit a pillow. If you just want to reiki it out, let's reiki it out. Whatever it might be, it's okay. It's okay. And if you hit one of these stages, if you hit all of these stages, if you hit none of these stages, that's okay. It's all okay. Society has somehow decided that if somebody doesn't go through all these stages, then they're not grieving correctly. There's no right way to grieve. There's no wrong way to grieve. Again, as long as you're not hurting anybody. It's okay. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling, and there's no timeline on grief. I say that all the time, right? There's no timeline on grief. Or all of the above, that's right. When I was so fortunate to work in hospice for the 3 years that I did, it was wonderful. I started as a volunteer and then moved into a paid position, which was really fantastic. I learned so much. I learned a lot about myself. And that's when I really figured out I understand grief. And I really enjoy helping people to heal. I don't have a magic wand. I can't heal you. That's what I would always say. I can't take it away. What I can do is give you the tools and the resources. Kind of like I can't paint a room for you, but I can give you a paintbrush and show you how to use it. It's up to you. You can do brush strokes this way, you can do them this way. Whatever makes you happy, it's your room to paint. Whatever color you want to paint. I'm just here to show you, here's the tool, here's how to use it. Maybe edging, maybe a roller on really big sections. But otherwise, it's up to you. That's when I realized, oh, okay, I can make a difference in the world by helping people do that. And it is my honor and privilege to do that. So while I was working in hospice, I was so blessed to be able to go through the grief recovery method certification training. And when I worked in hospice, we ran groups. We worked with individuals because group isn't for everybody, and we understand that for various reasons. But we could work one-on-one. So they taught us how to work the method individually and in small groups. And there were never big groups. It was never more than 10 or 12. Just because we wanted to give people that individualized attention. And in sharing grief, in sharing our stories, and I say because in every single group that I ran, I had to model for them. Here's my loss history graph. Here's my story. Here are examples. And one, it made me relatable. So it helped with the authenticity piece. And you all know authenticity is a huge part of, it's 80%, if not more, of my brand. And it also helped get the ball rolling, help people start thinking about, okay, well, that's a type of loss and that's a type of loss. And there's over 40 different types of loss that we talk about. And people start thinking, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that as a loss. So it makes you relatable, and it makes you human, as well as kind of like a teacher would write up on the chalkboard, here are examples, now it's your turn. And the grief recovery method is something that I encourage and speak highly of, and you all know that. But when I got to work in hospice, in groups, with the grief recovery method, it showed me much more possibility and probability in dealing with grief. And as I was working with these, hi Elaine, as I was working with these individuals, both in one-on-one and in groups, I listened to the stories and their firsthand experiences with grief. And often grief begins well before a death event happens. So well before I was ever introduced to these beautiful souls. But that event is just the trigger. There's really a mountain of grief that lies beneath that event. It's just the trigger. So my point is that you're not alone. And as I was working with these individuals, I learned grief is not linear. These 5 stages should not be held as a standard that people must go through each stage in order, or you didn't do it right. That's absolutely false. Like I said before, some people skip stages completely. Other people might go between stages. You might experience 2 stages at once, which is really bizarre. And people really don't know what to do with it. Like, I'm angry, but I'm in denial, and I'm angry, or I'm bargaining, and there's an anger tone underneath of it, or I'm depressed, but I accept it. So absolutely, there's no right way to do this. And you can go back and forth. And even if you're if you were to hold yourself to some sort of standard like this and you move backwards and you think, oh, well, I guess I really wasn't over it, you're never going to get over it. You get through it. Grief is a journey. And sometimes when we least expect it, an event that's a trigger, hi Susan, that we might not necessarily think is a trigger, triggers us 6 months, 6 years down the road. Something happens. And we're right back. And that's okay. That is absolutely okay. There might be a time when, the thing is, let me back up. The thing is, grief is the result of love. And because we have been so fortunate as to experience this wonderful joy and this love, the grief that results from not having that anymore, whether that person died or it was a divorce or a friendship ended or it was a toxic relationship with a sibling and you just don't speak anymore, or you just grew apart, whatever it is, the cost of great love is grief, because when it's no longer there, that's when we experience grief. So there could be a time later on, there could be a wedding, a birth, whatever it might be, some sort of rite of passage, a graduation, whatever it is, a family vacation. You're like, man, I really wish Grandpa was here. I say that all the time, personally. That's mine. Man, I really wish Grandpa was here. And of course, the spiritual side of me knows he's right here. He's right here. Always right there. But I can't see him, smell him, touch him, feel him, that tangible 3D thing that we experience here. And it can trigger grief. And it can happen when you least expect it. And that's okay. If there's nothing else you get out of this, there's no timeline on grief, and there's no right way to grieve. Even Elizabeth Kubler-Ross herself, there are plenty of studies that show this isn't linear. But she even said grief doesn't progress in a linear fashion or in a predictable way. It's more like a roller coaster with peaks and valleys. And she, like I said, wrote at the end of her life that she regretted how misinterpreted her work had become. That people were held to this standard of, if you're not grieving in this predictable way, then you're not doing it right. And that's absolutely wrong. And she even said that. She wrote a follow-up book on grieving that kind of explains that. And of course, as she was nearing the end of her life, she was writing from her experience. That's the thing. Authors always just write from our own experiences. It's like giving advice. It's through our own filter of experience. So always take it with a grain of salt. So since she was, her work was held to this standard that people believe they have to follow these stages, or even worse, it's being projected upon them. So if somebody were to say to you, oh, well, you're in the anger phase, you've got 3 more to go. But once you get through this phase, you just get to the next one and then finally do acceptance and then you're done. You're never done grieving. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that sounds horrible and morbid and sad, but it's acceptance and surrender. It gets better. There are times, there are peaks and there are valleys. There are times when things are better and you have support around you and you have people who love you and you're able to get through that moment. Maybe not even that day, but you're able to get through that moment. And deal with the grief a little more easily. And then some days it feels like it's all consuming. Again, that's okay. It doesn't mean that you did something wrong or you're not over it. You don't get over it. You get through it. I'm sorry. Hopefully that didn't interrupt anything. I got a random phone call, so I'm sure it has something to do with my car warranty that it isn't a thing. So anyway, I know you all understand. Oh, hi, Shar. Hang on. And all the sadness, when you feel like your heart is empty and lacking, you've got to remember that grief isn't the absence of love. It's proof that love is still there. That's right. It's not, love is always there. The person might not be, but the love is still there. Absolutely. Thank you. Great point, Shar. Thank you for interpreting what I was trying to say. So when people believe that they have to follow a certain script in order to be grieving appropriately, this belief system, which what are belief systems? They're BS, right? And it makes people criticize others, or gosh, I wish you would hurry up and get through this stage so that we can get on with our lives. Wholly incompassionate, right? Like, wow, where does that come from? You're never really done because the love is always with us. And therefore, so is the loss. Light and shadow to everything. Every major event without our person, whether alive or not, can bring it all back. And that's okay. It's absolutely okay. If the person has crossed over, you can say, I know that they're with us. I know they're watching. I know that they're here. And I know that that's okay. If it's because you've grown apart or the person physically isn't around anymore or there was a divorce, finding the happiness in the moment without that person can be a little more difficult, but it is possible. I know that they're out having their experiences and being happy, and I'm allowed to be happy in this experience. Give yourself permission. Give yourself grace. If you're doing all of this differently than these stages, that's okay. That's okay. I want to make sure that you understand that that's okay. And a lot of my mission is making it okay. Give yourself that permission and that grace. Healing is done in layers. It's like an onion. Yep. Or a rose petal, like a rose blooming open. You peel back the layers. And sometimes you're just scratching the surface and it comes up later when you have that triggering event. But it's all just coming up for healing. It's really easy to have that knee-jerk reaction of, oh, there it is again. And you might be tempted to shove it down or shove it aside or and just not deal with it. But it's just going to keep coming up until you heal it. So it's that layer. Wow, I thought I was over this already. You don't ever really get over it. You get through it, right? But it's because there's another layer that needs to come up, that needs to be healed. So when it comes up again, it brings that mess back with it, and you just got to clean it up. I thought that was really beautiful. Healing is done in layers. I'm like, that's good. Thanks, Spirit. And it's true. It's a layer. It's layers. Feel it to heal it. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, grief is not linear. You don't have to go through all 5 phases. You don't have to go through any of them. You might go through, if somebody else has like another stage that they would like to add, please throw it in the comments. Absolutely. I'd love to hear your views. Because I think this is something that we need to talk about. I'm always down for talking about, what did I do with my card deck? Oh, found it. Who wants a card while we're doing that? Again, please feel free to put your experiences, your stages, if you have additional ones, any of your thoughts. Beautiful. Please feel free. In the meantime, if anybody would like a card, just say card, please. Such a great deck. Oh, beautiful. Hi, Carrie, you got it. Shar, if I may. Oh, yep, Shar, you're after Carrie. If I may, plug Kyle Strong. That is her organization. Would that be appropriate to call it? And Diane. So Carrie, Char, Diane. So Char, if you want to link your Kyle Strong stuff in here, please feel free to do so. Hi, Mom. You got it. Okay. Carrie, Char, Diane, Mom. Wonderful organization. Char has a really great story. If you would like to share it, please feel free to do so. Go check them out. Support them. All right, Carrie, take charge and action in your spiritual growth. Beautiful. Those are gorgeous cards. I love them. So take charge and action has an arrow. I don't know if you saw that or can. Hopefully you can see that. Interesting. Sure. Actually, Carrie, hold on. Let me pull out the guide box. Since I said this is a brand new, I'm just like, look, the binding isn't even cracked. Now it is. So there's spiritual growth. I think spiritual growth is pretty self-explanatory. Take charge and action. Don't be afraid to take charge or be strong at this time. Sometimes we have to take control in order to be respected or honored. If you feel that your current situation is moving in a direction that isn't serving you, your joy, or your purpose, the message of this card is to put your foot down. So this is about drawing healthy boundaries. Set a good example, respect yourself. It's time for you to be a leader. Beautiful. If you're wondering what the next move in a particular situation, this card encourages you to take action. Meet your angels halfway by showing your commitment to moving forward. That's pretty awesome. You're divinely led. This is spiritual growth. Path of light is unfolding for you. Encouraged to hold your head high and focus on spiritual growth. The rest will take care of itself. Gorgeous. There you go, Carrie. Okay, Char. Do the work. Do the work. Look at all that yellow. Beautiful. That's solar plexus. Let's see what it says. Another card about moving forward. Okay, there's a theme here. If you're wondering whether to move forward or not, this card is a message from your angels to continue on. You might feel that your current situation requires more time and energy than you feel you are able to give. There's a good chance you're feeling disheartened or even drained. It's important to know that everything involved in this situation is pivotal to your growth, expansion, and spiritual connection. This card invites you to switch on the light you have within. It's time to be a star, to rise up, to get behind the wheel and drive the journey of your life. Yes, energy is going to be needed to hustle and push, but every single effort you make will pay off. Right now, you are sending out a signal, and that will create a wave that can lay the foundation for the rest of your life. That's beautiful. Diane, I think you're welcome, and they are gorgeous. Okay, Diane. Vulnerability and freedom. This reminds me of the Star card in tarot. It is beautiful. Oh, I love it. Okay. Vulnerability and freedom. Angels are with you now to boost your confidence because they can see how harsh some of the experiences you have endured have been. They want you to know that vulnerability gives you a chance to find a strength that will bring you freedom. To move into freedom, your angel guide is encouraging you to take some time today to connect with the parts of yourself that you love and admire. Know that your sensitivity is not a curse, but a gift. You are an emotionally connected soul, and although recent waves of emotion may have overwhelmed you, those emotions are great reminders of how much you care about living truthfully and in a positive way. So take some time now to value the traits and quirks that make you the unique person you are. That will allow the world to value them too. That's beautiful. I was getting Archangel Jophiel vibes. I love that. I knew this deck was going to be perfect for tonight. Talking about emotions and grief. Mom. Oh, good, Char. I'm so happy. There you go. Hey, Deanna. After Mom. There you go, guys. Char linked the Facebook page to Kyle Strong, so please check that out. Support them. They do great work. Mental health stuff. You can see the story. It's really beautiful and touching. You're welcome. Mom. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my son is rocking out to Trans-Siberian Orchestra while he's in the shower. It's pretty great. And those of you who know him, I bet you know what song it is. All right, Mom. Inner child healing. Aren't we just talking about this at Christmas? That's beautiful. Okay, inner child. The inner child is the part of our psyche that represents our childhood. Everyone, no matter who they are, has had a traumatic childhood experience that might be impacting their life today. Yeah, it could be a death, it could be a best friend that moved, it could be a horrible teacher that was mean. You know, who knows? Lots of stuff. And you have endured so much in your life. You are a real survivor. Drawing this card indicates that no matter what has happened, you have found a way forward. You may feel that you have had to grow up quickly and abandon your innocence in order to survive. But know that when you reflect, review, and release, that's great Mercury retrograde vibes right there. Release anything from your childhood that could be holding you back. The next phase of your life will be supportive. This isn't about forgetting, but about taking the time to send loving energy, hi Finn, to your inner child and assure them that they do make it through and become the incredible person you are today. There you go, Mom. Hi. No? Not going to come here? Okay. Deanna. Hi, Shauna. Absolutely. So Deanna, then Shauna. So sorry. There's Mercury retrograde catching up with me. No, this one wanted to come up. Composure. All right, Deanna, let's see what composure has to say. Lots of blue and purple, so third eye and throat chakra stuff. Take the time to gather your thoughts and energy because there's a good chance that you are experiencing a buildup of frustration and annoyance at this time. You are a passionate, loving, and joyful being, but at the same time, you don't want to be taken for granted or underestimated. The warrior within you wants to rise up and fight, or at least prove your skills, talents, and worth. But drawing this card indicates that right now you're not going to be respected or heard in the way that you deserve. Angel wisdom is guiding you to retreat, reflect, and compose yourself before proceeding further. Also Mercury retrograde vibes. So take the time to ask your angels and guides to help you compose your thoughts and your energy. Know that the divine hand of God is upon the situation and everyone involved, and there is no need to worry about anyone's karma but your own. Just retreat, refuel, and regain your composure. Yeah, the sword is down. Archangel Michael, lots of his stuff. So just breathe, meditate. Do whatever it is you need to do. And sometimes the best response is none at all. Notice how I said response, not reaction. Because we are in control of our responses. Come here, Finn. Everybody wants to see your cute little face. Shauna. Hold, please. It fell on the floor. Okay. Compassion. Oh, how beautiful. Look at all that green. Heart chakra. Healing. Archangel Raphael. Oh, that's just beautiful. Okay, sorry. I got lost in the card for a second. Compassion. Nope. Your angels are wrapping a light of compassion around you at this time and guiding you to let go of conflict or the need to prove your point. The more you resist and fight, the unhappier and more drained you will be. Pointing out mistakes or mishaps or concentrating on the negative traits or actions of others will only hold you back. Don't let the unjust actions of others block your experiences of joy and freedom. Take time to review where you are in life. You may be feeling held back or even consumed by frustration and anger. Ask your angels to shine their light upon you and the situation. Again, Mercury retrograde vibes. So moving forward, healing and reviewing in action. All themes tonight. All right, dear. Oh, I hope that was helpful. That was beautiful. Kyle was very concise in that description. I'll pull one for myself because I always say, lead by example. I'll never ask anyone to do anything I wouldn't be willing to do myself. How about you, Finn? You want a card? No? Okay, cool. For anybody who's new, Phineas is my familiar. He's my kitty. Completely goes with work right now in my mirror. Oh, wow. Good. Well, I'm glad it resonated for you, dear. All right, what do I most need to know right now? Healing energy. The theme continues. Lots of green and blue. So Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael are two archangels that I work with all the time. Healing energy. Angels are enveloping you in healing energy at this time. They are swirling around you, filling your body, mind, and soul with a soothing and peaceful light. They are guiding you to receive this healing energy and allow your body time to return to its natural state of goodness. Healing is actually an energy that goes beyond the body. It's the return to a natural and good state. Healing angels are placing their hands upon you in any situations that may be concerning you at this time. Know that the miracles you are seeking are unfolding before your eyes. You are blessed to receive this card today because the energy it brings will mend any breakages, wounds, or emotionally raw situations that are troubling your heart. Mic drop. Sure, Brandy, you got it. This is why I love working with cards, and Spirit just speaks through this stuff. I love it. Brandy. Come here, Finn. What? I think the neighbors are knocking down icicles. Whoa. Spiritual growth. That is beautiful. I'll read it again because I know that was a little bit ago. This is a powerful time for you. Your growth and understanding are unfolding at an incredible rate, and you feel more connected than ever to your soul, gifts, and purpose. Your angels are encouraging you to keep up the good work and continue expanding your knowledge, experience, and spiritual connection. When this card arrives for you, it's a confirmation that the experiences and insights you have had recently have been divinely led. You may find yourself connecting to particular energies at this time, or even experiencing angels or guides visiting you. Jealous. This card is letting you know that these experiences are real and are occurring because of your determination to open up spiritually. The path of light is unfolding for you, and you are being encouraged to hold your head high and focus on spiritual growth. The rest will take care of itself. Gorgeous. Yeah, it is what I hope they're doing. You never know with my neighbors. They're lovely people, but they're different. Very different. Right, Brandy? Interesting folks. So, anybody else? Does anybody else want a card? Or if you're watching the replay, if you would like a card, just let me know. I'll pull one for you. Hi, by the way. So again, I will be at the Crystal Den on Saturday, February 12th from 11 to 3. If you would like a specific spot, I'm doing 20-minute readings. So I'm doing 3 an hour during those 4 hours. So only a couple people have claimed spots so far, so there's times open, and of course we're going to be doing walk-ins as well. If you can't make it, or if you're not local, I am going to be offering, we could do live, or we can do, I can do a recorded for you as well. Valentine's, Galentine's, self-love, whatever you want to call it. Those are the readings I'll be doing. So let me know. Very loud. I think elephants live there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have a space heater. I forgot to tell you. I heard it the other night. I took some trash out, and I heard a space heater going in the garage. I'm like, oh God. Please tell me that thing is vented. Oh, yeah. For the reading, Shauna, so it's 30 for 20 minutes. Okay. Well, if nobody else has, well, I'll ask. Does anyone else have any closing thoughts, questions around the grief stuff? I really just wanted you guys to know that the 5 stages are not linear. You don't have to go through all of them. You don't have to do them in order. None of that. Not even close to being true that you have to do it that way. There's no right way to grieve. There's no wrong way to grieve as long as you're not harming anyone. There's no timeline on grief. Please be compassionate with one another. Just love each other. If someone tries to hold you to a standard or say, oh, you're in a such and such phase, or you're in that stage, just gently and lovingly say, I grieve in my own time. We all grieve in our own time, or, you know, whatever feels right for you, but something to that effect. Oh, thank you for sharing the event page. There is an event page Joy created for the Valentine's event. I'm somebody who used to shun Valentine's Day. Like, oh, that's a made-up Hallmark holiday. It's my mom's birthday, you know, so that was always nice. You know, my mom's a Valentine's Day baby. But I never bought into the rest of it. I'm like, kind of being crusty about it. But then a couple of years ago, I learned it's a wonderful day. Like, every day should be Valentine's Day. You should always show the person that you love them. Shouldn't have to be a certain day. But, you know, it's kind of like Christmas. We should also live with Christmas in our hearts every day, right? If the spirit of Christmas is something that is in your belief system, to being kind and generous to one another. And it's a particular time on a calendar, because time is man-made anyway, right? It's just that visual reminder to us that we need to do that. So I started seeing Valentine's Day in the same way, that it's great to show that we love each other, but more so, make it a day about yourself. Even if you're coupled, make it a day about yourself. Do something for you. Do some self-care. If you're like, oh, My significant other never, buys me chocolates or takes me to dinner or buys me flowers. Buy yourself flowers. Buy yourself, because you won't get it wrong. You know your favorite flower, right? Buy yourself chocolate. Take yourself for a walk. Get a massage. Amber's not on. Amber's my girl. I get to see her Saturday and I'm so excited. I take my son to see her every couple of months. He just gets like a half-hour chair massage and he deserves it, even though he's 14. So what? He's got a body and it's growing exponentially. He's 6'2". We all deserve to honor our bodies. Take a bubble bath. Take time for yourself. Take a walk in nature if it's nice out. Do something for you. Get a reading. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. No. Maybe previous other halves. More so myself. I'm calling myself out for not allowing myself to feel the love that was being given to me or from the divine, and indulging in self-care. So it's more like that. So, PSA on Valentine's Day. Love yourself. And I know it's very cliche, but it's like the toxic positivity. Like, oh, just keep positive thoughts. It's like, well, I mean, sometimes you got to do the shadow work. You got to feel through the yuck to get to the good stuff. Healing happens in layers. And sometimes the layer gets peeled back. The wound is fresh. Bring it up. We heal it and smooth it over. And that's okay. But love yourself. It really does make a huge difference in your ability to give and receive love. It's reciprocal, right? When we love ourselves and we're able to give authentic love and therefore receive authentic love. When you say you love someone, sometimes it's out of habit. Like you get off the phone with your mom, you're like, love you, Mom, bye. It's not a fleeting thing. It's true. And I'm sure that even if things didn't work out with someone, or you're angry, you're having a fallout right now with somebody, the love is still there. Like Shar said earlier, the love is always there. It's still there. The person might not be, but the love is still there. And that is the one thing that you can take with you when you die. You can't take money. You take your soul's experiences, their energy, the energy signature is written on your soul. Can't take a house. You can't take all of your awards. It's okay to be proud of that stuff that you've earned, but you can't take it with you. The only thing that you can take with you is love. And it is still given and received after death. And that is one of the most beautiful things that Spirit says when I deliver mediumship messages to people, is that the love is still there. You can still feel it so strongly because that's an energy that crosses the realms. Never goes away. It's beautiful. Hey, Susan. So thank you everyone for watching and participating. Thank you all so much. If you have questions, if you're watching the replay, you want a card, or if you have questions or thoughts, please feel free to message me through the page. I answer pretty quickly. Oh, you're welcome. Love is eternal and it transcends all things. Yes, it absolutely does. So if you have questions or comments, thoughts, if you have an idea for a live, let me know. That's why I do these. Sometimes they come to me. This one, I just happened to be talking with somebody the other day about grief and the grief recovery method, and like how I got into hospice and what I learned and what is the grief recovery method, and how can I find a group. So we were talking about how grief isn't linear, and the 5 stages were brought up. I'm like, John, no, that's not true. And I pulled myself back. Luckily, it's a friend of mine, so I could speak like that. But like, oh, There's an idea for a live. So sometimes they come like that. They come very organically. Sometimes it's an intuitive hit. But whatever you guys want to talk about, let me know. Always happy to oblige. So if there's nothing else, I will bid you all good night. It's almost 9 o'clock on a Wednesday. I hope the rest of your week goes beautifully, and that you're warm if you're here in Northeast Ohio where it's currently 10 degrees. If you're not, if you're somewhere warm and sunny, awesome, send it this way. Please and thanks. We need the snow and ice to melt. So take care. I wish you all well. Have a great night.